Welcome everyone to the New Professionals Café. My name is Killian, and it's fantastic to have you all here to chat and consider some approaches to attracting and encouraging young, new and emerging professionals within Europeana. Thanks a mil, Beth, if you could go to the next slide. So this cafe session is really to kind of open up a platform for dialogue around what we think a new professionals program within Europeana could look like. So next slide. Thanks, Beth. So that's just an agenda for what we hope to kind of talk about. I'm just going to speak very quickly about the New Professionals Task Force. To be followed by Carlotta about ESAC, and then Laura Miller about the ICA New Professionals Program. Then we'll have some breakout discussions and a kind of a reflection then on those discussions. Next slide. So first of all, big welcome from the New Professionals Task Force. This is the group, and we have been meeting throughout this year, and actually we'll just go to the next slide. Thanks, Beth. So yes, the origins of this task force came about last year at the Europeana 2019 conference in Lisbon. And these were kind of conversations and thinking and a kind of a recognition that more can be done and more has to be done to make Europeana kind of relevant and welcoming and inclusive to young, new and emerging professionals. And much of these discussions were about, you know, how early in their careers, new professionals don't have the autonomy or the access or the support structures in place to be able to fully engage with Europeana and by and large with the kind of digital cultural heritage sector. And very much the purpose and scope of this task force is to change that and think about ways in which we can improve this. So next slide, please, Beth. So as part of the work that we've been doing, we've been meeting online, we've been discussing issues, the challenges, the barriers, we've been kind of researching relevant initiatives and networks, and all of these have been kind of informing our recommendations about how to support new and emerging professionals within the Europeana and its network and its communities. And this cafe session really welcomes you with kind of open arms and welcomes your feedback in the breakout rooms as we kind of explore the multifaceted aspects around kind of social, professional, technical inclusion that need to be discussed for our new professionals. And we really would welcome your feedback and know that like it's going to be incredibly informative and kind of go towards contextualizing and informing kind of nuanced recommendations that we hope to deliver in January 2021. So I'm going to hand over to Carlotta now about ESAC. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Killian, so much for inviting us here, and thank you, Europeana, for including us in this talk. We are super happy to be here. I'll just do a brief introduction about ESAC. We are a youth-led network of students and young professionals throughout Europe. We started 3 years ago, and we're about 120 members at the moment. Our goals are to increase youth collaboration, youth involvement in cultural heritage, and to promote communication and collaboration between our different members. The organization is run by volunteers. We are a team of 9 students at the moment. And we rely on very important collaborations with institutions like Europeana, who help us deliver a variety of activities. Can you go to the next one, please? Thank you. And what moves us, what are our principles? First is an idea that we want to go beyond the academic environment, beyond what is strictly academic. I became personally involved in ESAC after attending one of the conferences, and I was really blown away by the diversity and the intersectoral approach that was present in the presentations and also in the people that attended the conference. So this is one of the key points of ESAC, is creating a platform that is interdisciplinary, it's diverse, it's multicultural, where we can all contribute and be part of a bigger community. But also at the core, we have the idea that it's really important to include young people in conversations about cultural heritage, because cultural heritage is not just part of the past, it's also part of our present, and it's part of our future as well. Because cultural heritage is the things that we love. It's the art, it's the music that we listen to, it's the movies, it's the books, it's the cities we inhabit. So the kind of cultural heritage that we protect, that we promote today, will determine the kind of future we get to live tomorrow. So it's really important to make sure that young people are involved in this conversation. And from ESAC, we want to make sure that we are as equipped as possible to be really meaningful actors in this conversation. Can you go to the next one, please? And I'll just have a brief overview of some of activities. We have a webinar series where our members get to present their work and get feedback from their peers. We're organizing a conference for next March. And then we have a book that is coming up in a couple of weeks. And we just launched an internship program with Europa Nostra that gives opportunities for students to join get some work experience and help this transition and make it a bit easier. Can you go to the next one, please? And at first, I would like to invite you. We have a new an event coming up on Tuesday, where on the topic of Europeana, there will be 4 presenters talking about digitalization and new technologies. You're all welcome to join. You can register online on our website, and we look forward to seeing you there. Next slide, please. And that's it from me. Thank you so much. Connect with us. You can visit our website, connect with us on social media. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your opinions, your comments, your ideas for collaboration, what we should be doing. So please connect with us. We really rely on collaboration. So thank you. That's it for me. So over to you, Killian. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Carlotta. Spot on. I mean, I just want to echo that's fundamentally kind of the nail on the head. We're about kind of reaching out and collaborating with others, and the next presentation is really about that. It's about reaching out to kind of relevant initiatives and networks that have been kind of working in this area, and about engaging new professionals in a kind of a sustainable, meaningful way. And so Laura Miller, who is going to do the next presentation, is in Canada, in British Columbia. So I think it's about 4 o'clock in the morning there, so she won't be able to join us in person, but she's prepared this fantastic presentation. So she's going to talk about the International Council on Archives New Professionals Program. So I'll leave it to you, Tamara. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and greetings to the Europeana conference participants. My name is Laura Miller. I am a records and archives consultant based in British Columbia, Canada, and I am also the coordinator of mentors and buddies for the ICA New Professionals Program. And I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes today about that program and give you some ideas to think about should you want to start up something similar yourselves. First, a little bit about the International Council on Archives, which is the International Association of Archival Institutions and Professionals. Its mission is to promote the preservation and use of archives around the world, protect and enhance the memory of the world, and improve communications around the world while respecting cultural diversity. It does this by a range of activities, conferences and congresses, a program supporting African Records and Archives Management colleagues, the New Professionals Program, which I'm talking about today, a training program, and a range of advocacy and outreach initiatives, and much more. The New Professionals Program, which I'll talk about today, began in 2008 as what was called the Flying Reporters Initiative, where new, young, and not chronologically young, but young to the profession, colleagues were asked to go around the conference every year and report on different sessions, preparing an actual newsletter that was published for the conference daily. That evolved into the formal New Professionals Program that the ICA has in place today. So in the New Professionals Program, a pot of funding is available, which is used to select 6 people to serve as active new professionals for a year. They receive organizational and technical support. They attend the annual conference. They work together on various initiatives and projects. And their work is coordinated by a new professionals coordinator, currently Nicola Laurent, who is based in Australia, and a coordinator of conference buddies and mentors, who is me. So what do they actually do? These 6 new professionals who are funded for the year communicate with each other through social media, in webinars, in face-to-face meetings at the conference, and in virtual meetings using web technologies. They attend the conference and they have to report on the conference and give sessions themselves. They meet and liaise with their conference buddies who help them through the conference, as I will explain. They write articles for publication in Flash or other ICA publications. And they carry out special projects like a research project, webinars, and social media activities such as blog posts. So far, we have had new professionals from as far away as Argentina and Zimbabwe, which are both very far away from me here in Western Canada, from Trinidad and Tobago, from Chile, from Burkina Faso, from all around the world. It is not just a developing country initiative. We have wonderful new professionals from Canada, the United States, and more richly resourced countries as well. Who are the mentors? The mentors are ICA members or representatives of member institutions of the ICA. They will have at least 6 to 10 years experience in the profession. They commit about 4 to 8 hours a month to liaise with their active new professional. They communicate regularly, they review draft articles, they advise on projects, they provide professional advice, they might look at CVs or job applications. Mentors do not have to attend the annual conference, and there is no ICA funding available to support their attendance. In fact, we only have enough funding to support 6 active new professionals. So even though we might get 60 or 70 applications from potential new professionals, we only choose 6 a year. Who are the conference buddies? Also, ICA members or representatives of member institutions. Ideally with previous experience at a conference, particularly an ICA conference, and someone who is planning to attend the conference at their own cost. The conference buddy is willing to meet with the active new professional throughout the conference, provide tips on sessions or events to attend, bring the new professional to a business meeting or to some social events, introduce the new professional to colleagues, and generally make the new professional feel welcome at the conference. The idea of the conference buddy is a friendly face, and I think we can all remember our first conference where we didn't feel we knew anybody. This helps break the ice and support the new professional in that experience. So how do we select mentors and conference buddies? Well, as I mentioned, funding is limited. We only select 6 active new professionals a year. So we usually issue a call for applications for mentors once we have a short list of possible new professionals. That way we can ensure that we can match languages or geographic concerns. There is no point in asking for mentors who speak Spanish if we don't anticipate having any new professionals who speak Spanish, for instance. When we get in the mentor applications, and we usually get about 10 to 20 a year, those are reviewed by me, by other members of the program commission who are involved with the New Professionals program. And we give preference to people with mid-career experience or senior professionals. We think of it as a matchmaking process. We're putting together new professionals and mentors who have shared or complementary interests, who share similar work activities, like both are working on digitization initiatives, or who have similar experiences. But we're not looking for same. We like to shake things up a bit and make sure that the new professional gets some new and different exposure through their pairing, and that the mentor also has a chance to see the world a little differently through the experience with the new professional. As I mentioned, language compatibility is very important. The new professionals are really working hard if they have to communicate in another language with their fellow new professionals. It is a real stress if we try to pair them with someone who doesn't share their own mother tongue. Time zones may also be a factor for communications, but we also don't want to pair people from exactly the same country or region because they're not going to see different parts of the world or the profession necessarily by sticking to that same experience. And note, we did not have a conference in 2020, so we didn't have conference buddies, but we will be issuing a formal call for buddies on the assumption that the Abu Dhabi Congress will go ahead in 2020. 2021. I've lost a year through COVID. There is no question that everyone benefits from the experience of working as mentors or buddies with new professionals. It's not a master-student relationship. It's more like traveling companions. Both groups, the experienced professional and the new professional, become more aware of different geographical, geopolitical, or professional perspectives. This new professional receives guidance and support, but the mentor receives inspiration and energy. They can learn a lot from the younger and newer voices in our field. And everyone benefits from expanding and diversifying their professional networks. So what are some thoughts for you in Europeana? One of the reasons I've been asked to speak to you is that I understand you are thinking of adopting or expanding your relationships with mentorship activities. So I would suggest you think about these questions. Are you going to require that mentors be paid members of the organization? If the mentors give their time, is it right to ask them to pay as well? The ICA does require that mentors and conference buddies be members of the association. I can see that as suitable at the international level, but it is asking a lot for people to belong to many, many associations. I, for one, would support being a mentor in other associations than the ICA, except that I can't afford all the membership fees. So that is a challenge to think about. How will you select mentors and mentees? Will you pair languages, which I think is very supportive of both groups? What kind of services will they offer? What kind of experience do you hope they have? What kind of education do you want them to bring as mentors? How are you going to select your mentees? Will you have an application process, or will anyone be a mentee but there won't be any funding associated with the program? The ICA limits the numbers of new professionals because the activity is directly related to funding for conferences. We could expand the new professional and mentor relationships and pair every possible mentor with a new professional, but then we would have to select some new professionals who received funding and some who did not. And that, for the moment, is a challenge that we have not yet overcome. What are your pinch points or constraints for managing a mentorship program? Do you have to deal with languages or time zones, technological capacity, or the administrative capacity of people in Europeana managing the program? Most of the people working on the new professionals program are volunteers like me, and it does take time. So we have to be careful not to overburden our volunteers. Another question is, what is in it for the mentor? The new professional, the mentee, benefits greatly from having a more experienced person, but I often wondered, why does someone volunteer to be a mentor? Some get professional or workplace credit, some just have a desire to volunteer, and some benefit from the networking opportunities. So finding out why someone wants to be a mentor will help you know how you can support them and end up with a positive experience for everyone. A new professional recently said that she left the program feeling she had the confidence to believe in our ability to create a more innovative and inclusive profession and in turn society. I think that is a wonderful goal of the ICA's new professionals program, and I think the mentorship program helps with that. But as I say, it's not just a benefit for the new professional. One mentor said recently, the program educated me about a part of the world I had hitherto not invested a lot in, making me less ignorant and more human. You get humbled. I think that is a true benefit I find myself, that I learn greatly from working with the new professionals and learning about events and activities in the profession that I may not see in my daily work. I encourage you to look at the ICA web links there to find out more about the New Professionals Program and the Mentoring Program, including examples of application forms and some tips and frequently asked questions. I thank you and I wish you good luck considering this initiative.
Massive thanks to Laura Miller there. That was a kind of a really informative presentation about what can be done and what the value and impact it makes. So the next part of this session is really to kind of continue this conversation with you all involved. And the idea is that we'll kind of separate into 3 breakout rooms, and we're going to use a Miro, a kind of a whiteboard. So Beth, I don't know, could you switch to the slide there? So yeah. So these are kind of starting questions to think about and think about new professionals in a kind of a Europeana context in terms of the network association and its communities. Thanks, Beth. If you could go to the next slide there again. And that's just a demo there of the Miro. So I'll just get you a link now. And the idea here is please feel free to make notes about the change that you think you want to see in Europeana, what a new professionals program would look like, and any actions that you can kind of need to happen for that change to come about. So I think that's fine, and we'll regroup in about 15 minutes, and we'll do kind of a reflection on some of the themes and feedback and discussions. So thanks a million, Tamara, if you can divide everyone up, and we'll see you all shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I think everyone's just returning in there. Oh, if there's only a bit more time, I think definitely even in our group, we were kind of just getting on the cusp of some kind of issues affecting kind of new professionals. And I think possibly in the kind of time restraints for this kind of session, we might have to revisit this. But definitely on the 17th of November, as Carlotta had mentioned, there's the kind of ESAC talks collaboration with Europeana. So we'll have details for you in the chat. We'll share them. Just before we get to the reflections and feedback, we do have kind of 2 key questions to ask you, and apologies in advance that these are kind of what's the word, predetermined, that we were kind of thinking about the answers, but like they're quite open. But we just wanted to get maybe a consensus around what you think is appropriate at this point in time to kind of take a step forward in terms of bringing a kind of a new professionals program into Europeana and a kind of a mentor initiative within that. So Tamara, if you want to fire away with those questions. So there's 2 questions there. So please take your time, and then we might do a quick recap of the breakout rooms. Brilliant. I'll leave that up anyway. So it's kind of 2 key kind of questions for us in terms of the work of the new professionals task force. And just touching on the breakout room 3, and I've never seen such a busy Miro board, so thank you so much for all your contributions and your feedback. We were discussing about kind of accessibility to kind of meaningful funding in terms of our kind of discussions about what one aspect that's kind of needed for new professionals. I wonder, would anyone like to speak from the breakout room 1?
I can do a quick recap of what struck me. I think it was important that a lot was about mentorship and connection, to find inspiration and meet people that can help you on this journey. So I think for sure the mentorship program would be valued, but also perhaps a buddies, because we have talked quite a bit about connection as well.
Yeah, something that was mentioned just at the end by someone as well was having someone like a consistent, I think that was the word used, someone that you could consistently kind of speak to and bounce ideas off. And I thought that was really interesting and maybe speaks to the need and the importance of those kind of consistent relationships that you can build, and that maybe a buddy system or a mentoring system would be great for that.
Would anyone like to kind of add in maybe their thoughts or any kind of reflections, kind of in general, maybe about the presentations, or any kind of comments on this? Feel free to say.
Yeah, well, I am actually very pleased that a conference like this is being held, because I'm relatively new to the field. I've been working in the archival sector for a little less than 2 years, and it is great to find out that there are actually a lot of young people actually working and having the questions that I am having. So it's kind of like a boost to see that you are also concerned with these things. So thank you for that.
Definitely, thank you and welcome. Absolutely, and I mean, this is very much about kind of opening up a dialogue in this area, and kind of letting people have a voice to kind of say what they think about what could work and what could work maybe in the short term, and also then in the medium term and long term. And I think definitely with the work of the task force is to kind of take a kind of a step-by-step approach and kind of recommend a form of new professionals program based on kind of the research that we've kind of been doing. And we very much encourage any feedback to be emailed. There'll be an email going out just at the last slide here, but thanks, Beth. And would anyone like to talk about any of the questions? Even maybe, I think one of the questions is, who are we not representing, and why is that the case? And in terms of looking at maybe the representation of the network association, like are there kind of concrete steps perhaps that you've seen that kind of have improved things in your own kind of communities or networks?
Killian, if I can make a suggestion. In group 3, we talked about what the young professionals need, and we came very much to some funding. And one of the ideas that we want to materialize with the European Network Association is get a better view of emerging projects that are coming. And as it happened, I didn't introduce myself, but I work at Leiden University Libraries, and we recently started a new project with Europeana in the generic services on medieval manuscripts. And we intentionally chose a very young person who had just graduated from university to help him on his career, on an academic career as a project officer, helping to describe and digitize medieval manuscripts and make educational tools with them. So I think I think funding in itself is very difficult to find, but if we can share more information about the projects that we are intending, that we have applications running, and how we can promote those projects to hire young people to work on these projects, I think that would be a good step. And the European Network Association can help make visible what our plans are for future projects.
Thanks, Marco. That's really relevant. I know that we're a wee bit time for time here, so if anyone wants to come in, go straight ahead. And I think we'll be kind of harvesting some of the thinking from the Miro, from the whiteboard, and also from just kind of notes of some of the members of the task force who've been kind of involved in the breakout rooms. And basically, if you want to keep in touch there with the task force, we'll be kind of looking to publish a kind of a strategy and recommendations at the beginning of 2021, and working with the Network Association, the Foundation, and the Aggregators Forum to kind of have a consensus about a kind of a meaningful way forward and a kind of a good solid approach. Yes, so anyway, enough about me talking. Has anyone any comments or anything like that?
I would just maybe like to say that the Miro board will be still online for a bit more. So if you want to jump in and put your thoughts because you haven't had time, you have the link. So please feel free to put in your thoughts even after the session is finished.
Absolutely, thanks, Carlotta. Go ahead, Ivan.
Sorry, hi. I'd just like to add one thing. If we can be sensitive to the variety of infrastructures available across Europe. So I live in central rural Italy, in which Wi-Fi connections are physically obstacled. So sometimes I find that some of the suggestions are disempowering because I don't have the conditions to make them happen. So if we can be sensitive to people's economic resources and the impoverished realities we may be working in already. Thank you.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, I think that's actually a good one, and also kind of relating to Marco's statement on funding. What I really noticed, because I'm basically on both sides of the table, and right now across all of Europe, but I think international in general, it is kind of expected for the cultural sector that you spend about 1 or 2 years basically working for free. And that is not only just a very direct financial barrier to join the sector, but also culturally, I can see it. There's quite a different interpretation of that. Coming from the same economic background, if you are willing to work for free, if you're willing to make that career investment, or if a job has to pay right away.
Yeah, this is another barrier.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we really need to close this meeting. So if you would like to say anything or discuss this further on, please send an email to network@europeana.eu and we will forward the email to the right person.
Thank you all.